Good morning. There you are. Come on in and sit down. Just take a moment to rest, and let's be still together this morning. But just before that, I'm just going to light this candle and so remind us of Christ's ever-present light in this space. And you might like to do the same. So let's be still. As we let go of all our concerns and all those things that are battling for our attention as you sit with me this morning, or whenever it is that you might be listening to this. And so we just come into this moment together, deeply conscious of being held in God's loving arms. Have you taken time to consider which spiritual practices are life-giving for you? And if you haven't, perhaps it's a moment now to stop this and just spend some time thinking about those spiritual practices that give you life. And once you have come to a prayerful sense of the ways in which God invites you into deeper spiritual growth and spiritual transformation, then what do we do with those spiritual practices? How do we weave them into a rhythm of life? One of the ways to begin is to think of how much time do you need to give daily, weekly, monthly, yearly to your spiritual practices? What is the minimum time that you need to give to this spiritual journey? You might think for a moment, how do you feel when you do nothing at all? That's the feeling you don't want. You don't want stagnation. You want life. So how do you feel when you can manage 5 minutes a day? And is that enough? Being realistic now, how much time do you need to set aside for realistic spiritual growth given the circumstances of your life? But it's important that we do this prayerfully. So ask that God would lead you into this realistic discernment. And so it might take a while. You might need to talk to God about this over the coming days. Remember to consider not only your daily needs, but also your weekly, monthly, and yearly needs. And also, don't forget to remember to incorporate a range of practices. Time for solitude, time for in-body spiritual practices, being aware of your body. Eating is a spiritual practice. Exercise is a spiritual practice. And then being aware of spiritual practices in community. Where might you fit these in, and how much time can you give to them realistically? Because we don't want to fail at this eventually. And so we go to God and we ask for His direction. So in putting all of this together in a rhythm, you might like to think about where you will spend this time with God in an intentional way. Is your bed the best place? It isn't for me, but it may be for you. Is going outside a better option? Or sitting in your favorite chair? For me, the best place is sitting at my desk because I'm most relaxed there. And then when? What time of the day is best for you? Morning is best for me, and the earlier the better. Think about times when it might be helpful for you to journey with someone else, to walk in a group. It has always helped to walk some aspects of our spiritual life together with someone else, and that's why spiritual direction is so important. How might you need to change your routine to make space for this time with God? You have the time. You only need to look at how much screen time you use to know that you have the time. When I was teaching, girls would say to me, "You know, Mrs. Mork, I really wanted to come and see you, but I just didn't have the time. I was so busy." And I remember saying to them, you had the time. You just didn't make this meeting a priority. And I wonder sometimes if God doesn't say that to us. You have the time, my child. You just don't make me a priority. You may need to make arrangements with those that you live with so that they can support you in this rhythm, and it will benefit them in the long run. You may even need to have conversations with those that you work with and for so that they can help to facilitate this rhythm, and again, it will help your work. So once you have an idea of what, of when, and of how, then prayerfully commit to opening yourself consistently to the work of God. Experiment with your rhythm and make adjustments as you go along. This is your rhythm. Use it as a life-giving tool. So spend some time today and in the coming days thinking about this, writing it out, praying about it, and then try putting it into practice. May you be blessed today as you walk with God.